Hello everyone. Today we're going to look at InVision Studio. As a modern design tool, it promises to help you design, prototype and animate, all of this in the same application. As of right now, it's been in early access for a few months, but I feel it's a good time to test it out and see how it compares to other tools from the competition. So stick around and let's find out. Opening up Studio, you are greeted with this launcher. I can tell you that from using Studio in the last few weeks that it's very snappy. It runs very fast, and I've been using this in my let me check, my Mac Pro from early 2015, and it's very snappy even with large files. Of course, this is an early access version, so some bugs are to be expected. It may crash sometimes, so I advise you to save very often because things can stop working suddenly. Anyway, they do have these tutorials here accessible from the launcher and from the file launcher, and these are actually very good, and they teach you the basics of their main features like percentage resizing, the animations. So I advise you to check out these from the launcher when you have the time. Of course, you can also quick jump to one of the blank new projects or import the Studio or Sketch file. Before I go into the program itself, let me just sum up their main selling points before we go into each of them inside the application. So they have vector editing tools, of course, and they are actually very neat. I would say maybe somewhat closer to Illustrator rather than Sketch, if I may suggest. And one of the differences between them and the competition is that you can actually, well, between them and Sketch, is that you can actually pin elements to a part of the screen, and you can use percentage sizes that will scale accordingly. So that's a big plus to design responsive layouts. And you can actually create interactions inside your designs inside the application. So you can add gestures or click on an element and transition to another screen. And not only that, but there's also a timeline which you can use to customize how these transitions will occur. If you want to go into that detail, we're actually going to take a look at this a bit later on. And I guess another big advantage for them is that they're deeply integrated with InVision Pro. So you can use that platform to wireframe or gather ideas with your team or hand off the designs to developers later on. You can also do that in Sketch or Adobe XD by installing plugins, but right now this is here available out of the box. And speaking of plugins, they're not available right now. This is early access, so I guess that's still in development. So I can't comment how they work, and for now that's one of the advantages that Sketch has related to InVision Studio. But they're in the pipeline, so sooner or later they will be available apparently. So the main important question to ask is the product as good as the marketing? So let's find out. Let's start off with a new project. Let's choose one of the pre-ready templates. We have our artboard for the iPhone X, and right from the bat we can see that we have a very dark ambient going on here, a very minimalistic interface. We have on the left side pages and inside the artboards, and from the right side we have the contextual sidebar, and there's only a handful icons here. So we have these for actions that we're going to see a bit later on, and we can access zooming options there, as well as the most common controls that we're going to use, which are also available from the tools menu. And most of these shortcuts are actually familiar if you're coming from a tool like Sketch, for example. Okay, so I want to do a small weather application. Before I do that, let me just pick out some colors for this project. I'm going to use the coolers, maybe colors, yeah, uh, color generator, which is actually a very nice project. So I'm just going to pick something random from here, and we can get started right away. Okay, so let's use this. Let me just copy these here, and okay, so let me, before we get started, I'm just going to create another page here. Name this colors and styles, and I'm going to use the rectangle tool actually. Okay, just duplicate this. Just so that we can have, just so I can apply all of these colors. So we'll take this opportunity to explore some of the options here. So on the fields we have inside colors, we can use the global colors, I guess, used from several projects. We have my most recently used ones or document colors. So we can actually use, we can add this to the document color so we can reference it later on. It's we don't have text styles or color styles like in Sketch, for example, but for now these will do. Let me just copy over this real quick. Right. Let me just put here white and finally okay. Actually, let me add no, not here. Oops. Let me add a border here, and we can see that we can use several borders, so we can have different colors, and we can place this on the outside or the inside if we want, which is something that some other tools don't have. And yeah, I guess that's something different from other tools. But anyway, we're not going to use this. Just thought it would be fun to point out. So okay, we have our basic colors that we're going to use. We could use this page to name all our different styles a bit later. That way we can have everything a bit more organized. So let's go back to our artboard and start filling out some screens. Let's start with our main screen. So if you click on the artboard, we can see some extra options for the actual artboard. We can define our layout. So if we want to have, for example, 6 columns here, which will help us with our measurements, and we can define a grid as well. So all of this is great if we want to some extra help in creating our screens. Okay, so let me start by adding some text here. So we'll use the T shortcut for the text tool. Let me add this one. Maybe this is too much. Okay, let me see. Let's say October, for example. this is too much anyway, so let's give it let's go with 20. This regular. Let's apply some decent color here. Let me say, yes, this is going to be good. Yeah, straight out awful. Oh yeah. No. Let's go with white. And some light tones. So the disadvantage of this background color is that we can't really see the grid. But we can change this so that's a bit darker, I guess. Please. Okay. Yeah, that should help. Okay, so let's put this here. Right. So let me add an image here to this. So actually have some, I'll use the icons from the weather icons that are available in our perks. For the members of Sketchcast. So you can download this from your account. And so let me just add a little fluffy cloud, and you can add some text here, like 29 degrees. Okay. And this will, yeah. So what I'm using here, bold as well. So let's try to position this text center its middle. Okay. And for some reason, my cat is really chatty today, which is a change, because that way we'll have some more noise than usual. Right? Yeah. That's the way to go. Okay, so we have a basic screen here. We can start organizing this a bit better. So, as you have noticed, the toolbar actually changes depending on the context. So it's usually more minimalistic, and then the options will change depending on what you do. So we already explored the color options. We can use these. Let me put this as regular. And now we'll start organizing this better and see how we can turn this into actual components. We're going to explore more on creating components, resizing and overriding values in the next video, so be sure not to miss it out.